What if you could have a session on your books, a photographer shooting it, a client that is totally obsessed with the gallery, and you're sitting at a soccer game for your child while this all happens? That's not a fantasy. That is how my business actually runs. I hired a new photographer yesterday and I'm onboarding her today. So today I want to break down exactly how the associate model works, how I built mine from scratch, and what photographers get completely wrong when they're trying to scale this way. Welcome back to the CEO Photog Club. I'm your host, Kylie. This is where photographers come for more income, more systems, more freedom without burning out to get it. You're in the right room, so let's talk business. So the associate model is not about working less. It's about building a business that no longer depends on you physically being available to grow it. And that's a big misconception because in some ways you're working more because you're managing more clients, more calendars, more people, more everything. However, you can do a lot of those things from afar and from a distance and not be physically at those shoots or available in those evenings or weekends and things like that. So what is the associate model? For me, I think I do it different than anyone I've ever met in the photography industry. My associates truly become a part of my team and family. Everything that is mine becomes ours, and we are building up my photography business as a team. It is our photography business and everyone contributes to that. They leave behind their other businesses and join forces to market towards Kylie Studios, follow all the Kylie Studios workflows for shooting, editing, delivering. We're using all one Honeybook, all one Pass Gallery, all one website. And it's truly one big operation, kind of like if you were going to a practice, like if you were going to a doctor's office, say you're taking your kid to a pediatrician. So let's say we're going to StarKist, that's what's on my desk, StarKist Pediatrics, and that is the company. And then there's a bunch of doctors within the office that are all a part of StarKist. Each of those doctors are bringing people into StarKist. They're not bringing people in. Obviously, they're bringing them in to see them, but it's directing, it all comes through StarKist. They are calling the receptionist at StarKist to book the appointment, and then that receptionist puts them on the calendar. If the doctor that they want is not available, but they have to be seen that day, have you ever gone to a different doctor in the office, even though they're not your regular doctor? That is kind of how the associate team works for me. So we have Kylie Studios, we have all these different photographers. Now, of course, they're all bringing in their own clients based off their personality or their work. People are attracted to that. But then there are times where their clients cannot be seen by them and they're going to go to other people, especially for me. There are a lot of times where I can't see everybody. And so that's where a lot of the overflow goes to them. And so it's kind of a win-win for everyone because it's like a pool of clients and we're all working in our own availability, in our own present, time so that we can be available for our kids and still serve those clients to the best of our ability and give them all kind of the same experience. So a lot of photographers don't understand this model because it's different. I think a lot of the industry had backup associates. So they're not a part of their brand all the time. They run their own business and then they step in here and there to fill in. Now that is an okay model, but I just don't see a lot of growth with that. For me, it would be hard to bring someone in that's part-time that runs their own business and fully give them all of my training and all of everything that I have and give to my associates now if they were part-time, if they were also running their own company, because that's kind of like you're just, training your competition in some ways, right? So everyone who comes into my team gets full access to me, my education, everything I've ever taught, every team training I've ever had, all of my guidebooks, all my posing guides, all of my presets, every single part of my business because they are part of my business and family. So it's a lot different than what people see on the outside in most photography businesses, but it works really well because we're all working together to grow a brand that even though it has my name on it, it's our brand as a whole. And it's kind of a way of shooting that people now come back and come back and come back. Like we just had a client that came back this year for senior pictures. She's come to us for 3 of her kids' senior pictures. And every single time she shot with a different photographer. And so it's really cool because she just believes in the brand. She doesn't care. I've never shot her. So it's not me at all. It's the brand. And she believes in it enough that she knows she doesn't have to come back to the same photographer. She's going to get a great experience. And let me tell you, Reggie knocked it out of the park and killed it with those senior pictures. So that's what's really cool is that it allows you to really pour into your team and your team to really pour into your business and grow something that's beyond yourself. And that's how ours works. Most photographers think it's outsourcing, it's just cheap labor, it's like a scammy photography agency because you're not even the one shooting it, or you're losing creative control. That is not how it always has to be. And I said the other day I was rating advice from professionals on Instagram. And one of the advice I rated is that associate teams ruin your brand. It can ruin your brand, but if they are ruining your brand, it is not the associate team ruining your brand. It's your communication. It's the expectations you're putting out. It's how you're telling people about your associates. And it's probably you lying and saying you're going to shoot something and then sending an associate, which is not honest or ethical in any way. So what it really is the client books your brand as a whole. So they're not booking me. They're booking Kylie Ann Studios. They know from the get-go that they're not shooting with me if they're not shooting with me. They know a name of the person they're shooting with. They've seen their portfolio. They are connected to that person. And my team shoots under the same system. So everyone who works on my team has the same systems for mini sessions, family session, extended family sessions, commercial sessions, even school dance pictures, sports. There's a system in place in our Google Drive where they can just click and see all the poses and see all the guides for every single thing that we do in our business. The way they communicate, the templates that they send, everything is the same, no matter who you book on my team. Our editing style is exactly the same. You're going to get the same preset for every single person that shoots on my team. The communication, everything, it's one cohesive company. There's just different people that are at the forefront. So think of it like I talked about the doctor's office or a salon, right? If you we have a local salon, K Salon, right? If I call K Salon, it's like, hey, I need to get my nails done on Tuesday. I'm only available at Tuesday at 2. Who's available? They're going to put me with someone. And then next time I'm going to call them, hey, I'm available at Thursday at 4. Who's available? And if I build a relationship with my nail lady, I would probably just try to get on her availability. But there are going to be times when I can only work with time. And that's just true with photography too. This senior that we just shot that I gave as an example had specific states that she was available for. So she was like, I know you guys are all awesome. I trust this company. I just need to have it in this window who's available then. So it's kind of nice because you're able to serve people beyond just the schedule you're available for and give them an amazing experience without having to flip your life around to fit everybody in. People trust your experience, not just you as a person. So what an associate team actually is, it's a very scalable business model. You're able to duplicate yourself over and over and over again. I just told you I hired another person yesterday. I'm onboarding her today. I haven't even been home and she's in the process of onboarding right now because it's so streamlined and it's so scalable that it's just amazing. Even before I had my first associate, I created these systems that can be repeated by other people. And so no matter when someone comes to work with me, whether it's a crazy life week for me, or I'm sick, or my kids are sick, or it's not busy at all, they're all going to have the same client experience. And same with everyone who hires some of my team members, because we are focused very heavily on the systems in my team. Also, brand consistency and capacity expansion. I'm able to serve way more clients and give really great galleries and, give this awesome experience to so many people. And it's not me doing it. First of all, my photographers are incredible. And sometimes I look at those galleries and I could not have shot that well. They rocked it. And then second, I am able to just show up and not only serve more clients, but then help these photographers that want to have a photography business, don't have time to do the back end, don't have time to do the business, really grow and make money and get clients in this world of photography that can be so hard and saturated because I already have the inquiries boiling over the edge. I've already have so many inquiries with no place to go. And it's easy to just slide those inquiries into the different amazing photographers that have been doing, the only thing they're missing is those inquiries. So what it's not random subcontracting, at least not for me. These are people that come onto my team and they are committed to my team. They don't have a side business. They are fully Kylie Ann photographers. And it's not just passive income. It's actually not passive income at all because there's a lot more work. I think a lot of people think, oh, that's great. You can be at your kid's soccer game making money, and you're getting half of that. That's not how it is at all. I would love for it to be that easy, but the work just shifts, and it's work that I can do in different times, or I can outsource in different ways. Now I have about 5 people managing that half of the work, whereas before it was all me. And so, yeah, I was making more profit per person, but I was also working myself into the ground. Now we have about 5 different people filling in those holes. So it's not really passive income at all. It takes a lot of work and also some extra outsourcing. However, it is an increase in income for the business and revenue. And so I'm able to hire more people and provide more jobs and just have like a really like stable work environment instead of just one burnout person doing everything by myself. It's also not hiring before structure exists. That's a really bad idea. And it's not handing weddings to strangers. I do not pass off clients if I don't think they're ready. This is not just like a get rich quick scheme. If they're not qualified, they're not going to be shooting things that they're not qualified for. I'm not just like, oh, here's, a random subcontractor I can hire for the day because I don't have time, and I'm going to pay them a couple $1,000s and they're going to go shoot this wedding for me and hopefully it goes well. Like, no, there's so much training, so much vetting. Most of the photographers that I've hired have come through training and courses and workshops and retreats, and I've met them in real life and I've understood who they are before I bring them onto the team. And then after that, there's so much more training that goes into it constantly, always, forever, until the end of time. Like, it's not just, you're hired and now I trust you. Like, there's so much additional training that goes into it. I hit my max capacity when I had my second daughter. I had learned how to do marketing. I'd learned how to do SEO. I'd kind of taken off in my community. I'd become the number 1 photographer on Google. I was getting inquiries all the time. I had about 24 weddings a year at this point, which is kind of full time. If you know the wedding world, that felt full time for me. It was like 2 weddings a month. That includes also engagement pictures and bridal pictures because we're in Utah, and so we do those separately. So that's those 2 sessions for each of those 24 weddings. Plus I was doing family pictures and births and just all these other portrait things. And I was starting to just feel very overwhelmed because I would get like 4 inquiries a day for these different dates, and I had nowhere for them to go. And people would be like, okay, like if anything changes, if anything cancels, we want you. Or they'd say like, do you have anyone that's exactly like you that could, like, we like your edit and we like, your client experience, and we want your bride guide, we want all these things. Can you shoot this, please? And so it got to a point for me where it's like, okay, I am referring all these people out to someone that has a totally different style than me. I had this assistant at the time that had come to my workshop. She had come to 2 of my retreats, helped me with them. She'd become my assistant. She's shot 2 weddings with me, and her work had started to look a lot like mine. She was following a lot of the same systems, and it just worked out that I was like, okay, this is a great time that I can give people that experience, the same edit, the same experience, the same templates, the same bride guides, all these things without it being me. And that's when I brought on my first associate. I was so maxed out at that point. I was missing family time weekends. I was missing soccer games. My kids were getting older, so they had started to go to school. And so then they were gone during the day, and then I'd come home and I'd have to be gone. And I realized that it wasn't more inquiries that I needed anymore. It was more time. So that's the point that I hit when I was ready to hire, because I no longer needed to like get more marketing and get more clients. I needed more time to serve all those clients that I had gotten. So that's the point that I reached when I started hiring. So let's talk about how my associate team actually works. I have 6 photographers as of today. This episode is being recorded in May 2026. So when you listen to this, it might be later and there might be more, there might be less. But right now I have 6 full-time associate photographers that work on the Kylie Ann Studios team exclusively. I have 3 photographers besides myself in Utah, 1 in Idaho. No, I have 4 in Utah. Yeah, 4 in Utah and myself, so 5 in Utah. 3 are more south, so not in Cache Valley. 2 are kind of in Cache Valley, me and her. And then I have a photographer in Idaho and a photographer in San Diego. We shoot about 650 projects a year right now. We're going to expand. This is kind of a year that I'm like digging back in, building a foundation, and then we're going to grow and grow again and just get everyone kind of streamlined and figured out. We had 2 babies born on our team this year. We had 2 new photographers being born onto our team this year. So A lot of newness, a lot of shuffling things around. I mean, 650 projects is plenty, but I can see even more than that in our future. Our photographers all shoot different things. So I have some photographers that are really focused on commercial. I have some that do commercial and family, and some that do family and wedding. It just depends on what they want to do and what we have like a lot of work in. I do a lot of commercial and family right now. I'm not doing weddings. Some of my photographers do weddings. Some of my photographers don't do weddings. So it's just different. But across the board, we're able to shoot pretty much every genre because we have one that loves newborns, one that loves weddings, one that loves, product photography, more like beauty and candles and food. And then some that love the baby industry and the kid industry, and then some that love, different things. So it's really nice. We have an editor on my team. She is using Imagine AI now, and we have our profile built. It's been built up for over a year. So thousands of pictures have come through. So it's really getting perfected. We have a whole booking workflow. We have a VA, and she is fantastic. She does all of our inquiries, all of our follow-up emails, of our booking, invoices, contracts, questionnaires, and then following up with the team about shoots, shoot dates. When is this delivered? Do you need anything? Do you need me to add studio fees, model fees, that kind of stuff? All the client communication. And basically, in all that, no client is dumped on a random photographer. They're very guided through the process. When a client comes to us, we're asking, they tell us a date, and we as in my VA goes to the team, and whoever is in that area she goes to first and says, okay, we have this thing, who's available? And if she has two options, she gives them both options, and then they can look at the portfolios and decide. And so it's really nice because there's no like, surprise, you're with this random photographer, like they know from the get-go that they are using one of the associate photographers, and they're okay with it. They love it. I have built this Kylie on Studios team for over a decade. So it's not like it's a new thing. Like, my gosh, she has someone else shooting for her. No, like I think most people are like, oh yeah, you should hire her. She has a team. She could totally get you in because, there's 6 of them that can use their schedules to find a spot for you. And it's all awesome. And I've had a good experience with all of them. And, the team as a whole has these systems that they follow so that people love to recommend them because they know no matter who they're getting, they're going to have a good experience. We also have questionnaires and prep guides and profiles that we're using with our editing and communication styles everyone has to use and brand standards. All of it is like across the board the same. Like I've talked about, honeybook workflows, a lot of those are automated. So all of our clients are getting the same things, whether they book me or Reggie or Bree or Abby or, anyone on the team, even our San Diego photographer, Shelby. So on our team, we have our editor, our VA, and 2 marketing help. So we have one who's our creative director that also does our blogging, and then one that does social media. And the goal was not to remove myself from the business completely. It's to be able to step into the CEO role where I can remove myself as the bottleneck and things can still get done when I am shooting or when I'm coaching or when I am podcasting or when I'm with my kids. Things can still get done. And then each week I'm checking in with each person and just like going over things, reviewing things. I'm constantly opening up galleries and doing edit checks. I'm constantly changing our social media strategy or changing which keywords we want to be using or checking in on those kinds of things. I'm not hands off. Even though I outsource a lot of these things, I'm very, very hands on in every single person that works on my team. I talk to almost every single person on my team every single day about different things, locations, edit help, what keywords should I use for this, or what stories should I post this week? All of this, I'm still, the main person that everyone needs. And sometimes that's a hard role to be in. But at the same time, this is a brand that I've built and I want to stay, the visionary of that and not just let, all these people run it for me because then it doesn't really feel like what it was when I started, right? Let's talk about some things you need to do before you hire because there are a lot of mistakes I see people make when they try to hire before they're ready and when they try to hire just because they're drowning. You have to have some systems in place to hire or you're going to create an even bigger mess with the more people involved. If you don't have any systems, then you can't really scale that or teach people how to do that. And then you're just getting a lot of people doing a lot of random things, and you're going to have a lot of chaos to manage. And that's going to be really, really tricky. So you can't train just straight from your brain. You have to have documented workflows for your inquiries, for booking emails, for prep guides, like how to prepare for your session, what to expect, those kinds of things, how you're delivering the images, editing expectations, communication standards, all of those kinds of things, even like session workflows, how you go into a session, like what kind of deliverables are you giving them? What kind of poses are you doing? All of that kind of stuff. If your business only works when you touch every step, then you're not having a scalable business. Like I said, I'm still a visionary for those things and I'm changing strategies all the time, but I'm not in there doing the legwork. Like they are taking my systems that I'm constantly evolving and they're running with them. And just because you have one system doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. You can constantly change your systems. And that's the beauty of being the CEO and checking in with yourself and checking in with your team and checking in with what's working and checking in with changes in the economy and the algorithms and all the different things. Your strategy adjusts over time, but you get to spend your time focusing on the strategy and your team gets to spend time focusing on the execution. And that's where the magic really happens and your business can just continue to grow and grow and grow without you having to be the one posting everything on Instagram, sending all the emails, writing all the blogs, taking all the photos, editing all the photos, and all the things that come with running a successful photography business. Another thing that you have to have is a defined brand experience. Your clients need consistency, whether they book you or they book someone on your team. So you've got to have a posing style, a shooting style, client interaction, turnaround times, like just kind of like the framework of like what is required, what are people expecting when they come to work with you. Your tone of voice, all of that is a part of who you are. You're not just getting clients because of your photos. You're getting it for the predictability and what they can expect. And so that needs to be across the board. No matter who they're hiring, it's going to be the same turnaround time. It's going to be the same editing style, the same poses, kind of. Everyone has their little twist, and that's great. And we want to keep that because that's what keeps uniqueness on our team. But you have to have like everyone gets like that money shot, right? Everyone gets that playful shot. You have to have some standards so that you're getting that consistency across the board. For us, something that really helps with this and all these systems is a CRM and having a lot of these processes automated. So having workflows set up through Honeybook where they're getting reminders about sessions, they're getting reminders that they need to sign their contract, they're getting auto emails about their session upcoming and what to prepare and their prep guides and that kind of stuff. They're getting questionnaires so that everyone's kind of getting the same information. And it becomes kind of your CRM becomes this operation manager, this assistant for your entire team, coordinating with your clients. And then you can kind of oversee your team coordinating with the clients. And so instead of just like, oh, did you talk to that person and constantly making sure micromanaging if your team is, talk to the right person, you can see it all in your CRM, an overview of the company, an overview of all of your clients and who's connecting with who. And I'm CC'd on everything in my CRM, which is really nice because I know if a client is being taken care of or if a client is not being taken care of. And if a client is like, hello, are you there? I haven't heard from you. That comes to me too. And then I'm able to step in and be like, hey, did you forget about, Becky over here because she thinks you forgot about her. And then we can work it out and see like, oh no, it's going to her spam. Okay, here's your phone number. It's just so nice to have a CRM because instead of like hoping they're checking in or having to micromanage or having to text people and having to have that in your own mental load, you're able to oversee it from a distance in a CRM, which is really helpful. My CRM it's just constantly working for me. It's constantly sending reminders. It's constantly forwarding me things that just make my life so easy. Like literally while I'm sleeping, these things are being taken care of. Another thing that you've got to have in place is associate contracts. These are really important to have like non-solicitation, to have expectations, how you're going to pay them, when you're going to pay them, the structure of that, who owns the files. It's all very important. I use Legal Page. I have a link for that on my links page. page. I'll leave it in the show notes, but that's where I've created an associate contract that kind of lays out the expectations really clearly, what's required of them, what's required of me, how I'm going to pay you, when I'm going to pay you, and all those kinds of things. Because legally, they can get really messy when you are not protected by contracts or when the expectations are not clear and upfront. The biggest mistake that I made in my photography business is hiring too emotionally or assuming that talent equals reliability. Like if someone's really good at photography, they're going to be a great fit. And also just having poor boundaries. I'm not gonna lie. These are the hardest struggles that I deal with in my business. I have taken a big step back from who I was when I started this associate team. And let me just pause and tell you really quick that I started my associate team when I was 22 years old. That means I became a boss for the first time at 22 years old with 2 babies. I had no idea what I was doing. And so when I hear some of the critiques that I've heard over the years about, how I've run a business or what kind of boss I am, blah, 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 I actually just have to give myself so much grace because that 22-year-old girl had no idea what she was doing. And I can claim that fully. Like that's true. I did not know what I was doing. And sometimes I still don't know, but I do know that I am very growth focused, and every single mistake that I've made has just made me just dive deeper and deeper into growth and learning new skills and finding coaches to help me in those areas and reading the right books and listening to the right podcasts. And I have paid tens of thousands of dollars in coaching to become the boss that I am today. And it's okay if you're a boss right now and you're feeling like you've made a lot of mistakes and you haven't had the right boundaries and you haven't had the right pricing structure and you hire too fast or you hire too slow or you expected something different. Like that's okay. We're learning as we go. And I'm the first to tell you that I have made a million mistakes along the way. I have had to have so many hard conversations. I've had to really change who I am as a boss and just really develop different boundaries. I have learned that you can't build a scalable business on good vibes. Like that doesn't work, or on friendship. So if you're considering having an associate photography team, I want you to really think about what you need. Don't go straight to emotions. Don't go straight for talent. What do you need and what does that person look like? Full picture. Like emotional regulation is important to look at. Their overall habits is good to look at, who they are as people, how teachable they are, how trainable are they, if they'd like to be a part of a team, if a team environment is good for them, if they would grow better within a team, if they have great people skills. Like these are all things to look at besides just the talent, because the talent can be trained, but a lot of the other things cannot. And so it's really, really important that you really put a lot of thought into the hiring process and don't hire too fast. And also don't expect for people to care about your business like you do as the owner. Fortunately, I have an amazing team that does. And I always tell them, like, you don't have to care as much as you do because you're caring about this thing more than I care about this thing. And I'm lucky that way, but just know that that's not always the case because this is your heart and soul. And, they're coming in and it might not be their heart and soul. And that's okay too. Just know that being the boss is hard work sometimes. I know it looks like a lot of fun and it truly can be, but it also can be really hard because you're managing people, you're managing a lot of expectations, and there's just tricky things that come along. Like if a client is unhappy with something, you have to have the client's back, but then you also have to have the team members back. And balancing that can be so tricky because you want to keep everyone happy, but ultimately you're providing a service. And if a client isn't happy, that involves making it right. And there's just so many things like that happen all the time. And when I was 22 years old, I had no idea I was getting into that. And I've learned so much along the way and have developed boundaries and good communication skills and have brought in the right people to help me with those things and help me learn those things. But you don't just become a good boss from day one. Like it takes a lot of effort and a lot of these hard things that catapult you into that growth and is a necessity to be able to keep scaling. So how do you become a part of a team? I want to speak to the photographers listening who want into something like what I've built. What team owners are looking for, in my experience, are reliability, like someone who who actually wants to like build and grow and show up and learn and, be on the calls and all the things that you're doing, they have great communication. That's like honestly number one. I don't care if you don't want to do something. I don't care if you do want to do something. I don't care if you need time off. I don't care if you need more work. Like, I don't care about what it is that you want. What I do care about is how you communicate with me and it like that you do communicate with me because I can't read minds. And over the years, I've had a lot of situations where I thought I knew what people wanted. And then turns out there's so much unhappiness happening because all these expectations were not being met by me that I didn't even know existed because I thought a different thing than what people thought. So communication is number one, probably. Also coachability. Like there's just a lot of like critique and like in a positive way, like let's improve this, not like you're the worst person ever. But if you get defensive and shut down when someone critiques you, then that might not be a good fit for you because you're putting yourself kind of back into art school in a not as scary way of, someone else is looking at your work and trying to help you get it better. Also professionalism. This is a job, right? This is still, you're part of a team. You're showing up at some people's like very important life events and sometimes really hard, sometimes really amazing. I love for people to be professional and be able to like carry themselves in a way that represents me positively. Also, being a good personality fit is very important, and that's going to be different for each brand that's hiring because each business is going to have a different vibe. And you can tell on my team, we have like a very similar vibe overall. Like everyone is very different. We have different Enneagram numbers. We have very different personalities. But this overall vibe of like when you show up to a Kylian Studios event, like Mother's Day or Cater Shop, and you see all of our team, they're giving that like friendly, outgoing, uplifting, positive energy. That's a huge thing for my team specifically. And I know every team is going to have a different personality fit. And also the ability to follow systems. I don't necessarily care if you have the fanciest portfolio, 10 years of experience, all these kinds of things. I just care that you're able to work as a team, take feedback, be professional, and communicate your needs with me and other team members as well. So a lot of times, I think assistants or second shooters are those that get promoted into those roles because people can see what it's like to work with them, how they shoot, how they communicate with people. And that's a really easy way to kind of bump into more of an associate role, at least from what I've seen. I also think it's important that you care deeply about clients and you show initiative. You're doing things without being asked. You communicate well. You respect like the team culture and that kind of stuff. I can teach camera settings all day long, but it's so much harder to teach these things like professionalism. So who is the associate model really for? I think it's a great fit for photographers who have the inquiries just flowing in, but they don't want to be tied to every single inquiry that comes in. Like I don't like to turn people away, so I say yes a lot. And I know it's time to hire when I've said yes too much and my calendar's too full. Because I know I need that space, but I hate turning people away that want me and my style because I want to provide that service for them. So if you're fully booked, but you want more freedom, you have maternity leave or some family flexibility going on, like you're in a stage where you need a little bit more flexibility, or you want to scale without shooting 24/7, you enjoy leadership and systems and growth and that kind of stuff because it does put you in more of a leader role. So it's not a great fit for people who hate managing people or refuse systems or like to have more creative spontaneity and they don't like, to follow these workflows that are the same every time, or they don't like communication or admin work. That would not be a good fit. You'd probably be a much better fit as an associate where you can have the freedom to be the photographer. In some ways, you do have to follow some systems, but it takes out the aspects that a lot of photographers hate, which is the business side, the marketing, the getting the clients, the getting the website constantly updated, and all the other things on the back end. I hope this episode helps you realize that the associate model isn't about replacing yourself. It's about building something that's bigger than your own calendar, and you don't need a huge team or a giant studio or dozens of photographers. It really just starts with systems, consistency, and then being a leader and the willingness to stop being the only thing that holds your business together, because you do have to let go of those aspects of your business that you're holding so tight to right now. As you learned today, the associate model is a business structure. It's not a shortcut. It comes with a handful and slew of other issues and systems and things that you have to deal with, but it's a very beautiful way to grow your photography business and give every single client an amazing experience without you personally having to shoot every session. I actually have a $22 Intro to Associate Teams course that you can download. I'm going to leave it in the show notes. It's $22. If this seems like you, take this course. It gives you a quiz to see if you're ready to have an associate team, which I think is really important to know. And it kind of talks about this capacity thing that we've talked about. Grab that below. You can also get on the list below for today's club notes, because ideas don't change your business, action does. Our meeting is now adjourned.